Greetings. In last lecture, we have discussed about strain energy stored in a deformable bodies, especially in reference to the axial load and bending moment. Let us have a numerical based on that. The statement of numerical is find the deflection of the free end of a cantilever carrying a load at the free ends using strain energy concept. He has given us a assembly, a member AB, which is having one end fixed and second end as a free end of a length L. At the free end, a load P kilonewton is going to act. It is asked to us to find out what will be the maximum deflection which the end B will observe due to the application of this load at end B. Okay, since A is fixed end, that's why there will be no displacement at A and A. Only displacement will be B with reference to the end B. Let us move towards the solution. So can we say the profile of deflection will be such and the maximum displacement trace be dou here. Okay, we are interested to know what is the value of dou. Okay, for that let us consider a section X at a distance X meter from the end B, and I am going to find out the moment at this section. So the moment at this section with reference to point B will be P into X. Okay, since section is towards left hand side, the sign convention will get changed here. So here clockwise will be assumed as a negative and anti-clockwise will be assumed as a positive. So moment at X, section XX is equals to minus P into X. We know the strain energy stored by the body under bending forces is given by the relation integration 0 to L, means towards the whole length of the body, m square divided by 2 EI into dx. So what I will do here, I will replace this m square with the moment which we have got with reference to this force. So I will put here m square equals to minus P into X. Okay, after placement of this, what will happen? We will get internal energy, stored energy. Let us say it is a internal energy Wi, work done internally equals to the stored energy, which is equals to integration 0 to L P square X square divided by 2 EI into dx. Now we'll do the integration of this particular with reference to the statics of integration. So we will get a result P square is constant here. Now here L after derivative it will become x cube by 3. The coefficient 3 goes at the denominator side, though it become 2 into 3 6, and x cube will be replaced as a L cube divided by EI. Okay, so Wi internal work done or stored energy by the body is equals to P square L cube divided by EI. As we know that the external work done by the force during this deformation is equals to the total strain energy stored by during the deformation. So based on that concept, let us say the work done by external force. Here the force is going to act at the point B. The work done at the point B will be, done by the force will be 1/2 of the force applied here multiplied by the total displacement, that is die by here. So it will be WE external work done is equals to 1/2 of P into delta. So we will say there is a equilibrium between the external work done equals to the internal work done by the body during the application of the load during the deformation. So after equating this, we will have 1/2 of P into di by equals to P square L cube divided by 6 here. After doing some statics, we get resultant di by equals to P into L cube divided by 3 EI. This is the way we can find out the solution with reference to the concept of strain energy. Let us move towards the part of strain energy stored due to shear. For this, we will consider a cuboidal body. From it is an extract from a body which is elastic in nature, and it is going to be applied by the external loads, and it's elastic in nature, and it's gone for a deformation. Let us say the cuboid is of length L, width B, and height H. Okay, so when we'll see the effect of the shear force here, so we'll see that the shear stress is going to act along the cross sectional plane here. So when I'm going to say the shear stress is along this plane, then there will be one complementary shear stress developed along the other plane, orthogonal plane. So here we will have the assembly here, shear stress going to act along the plane which along the surface B into H, whereas complementary will be on along the length into H. If I go towards a three-dimensional view of this one, so we will get such an assembly. These two complementary, the complementary strains and the opposite nature stresses will be developed on the either faces of the body. Now let us look towards the effect of these stresses on the body. I am going to look with reference to this direction which I have shown here. So I will plot a response curve for that. Let us say I have placed the body along its length and I have taken a reference of height also h here. Then when the body is subjected to a shear stress, okay, which is going to act along the length here, then the body will go deform this one in a shape. Let us say this deformation is DL. This deformation is DL, and due to this there is a distribution of stress along the edges. This stress will have maximum value at the top and it will slowly reduce down throughout the section at the bottom. So means what, here the stress is not constant, it's being varying. That's why can we say we are going to have an average stress component here. So I will say the average force is going to apply, or average stress is going to apply along the section, along the height of the member, okay, causing the strain to develop here. So here when we say there is an angular displacement, we are going to say it as a strain which is developed along the face of the body. Now let us put this all statics into wording, your numerical mathematical modeling. Let's just say Fs is the shearing stress which is going to act along the length of the body. Then it will be shearing force along the length of the body. So I will find out the force is equals to tau is equals to because I'm going to consider this portion, means here I am going to consider the portion which is related to the cross section which is along the face of the body. Okay, that's why it will be Fs is equals to tau into L into B, cross sectional area stress into area, it will be result into a force. Okay, now I'm going to I'm going to say here there is a strain is going to happen to this angle, I know gamma, and there is a height h here, and dl is the base of that one. So if I want to find out gamma value, dl value, can I say it is a gamma into h by the triangular relationship? So dl, the total extension which is being observed by the body, the total deformation which is being observed by the body is equals to the product gamma into h. So from this I will move further for the calculation of the force which is going to act along the face which is causing this deformation. It's nothing but Fs, but it has a maximum value at the top and minimum at the bottom. That's why I'm going to have an average value of this one. So I will put here as F average equals 1/2 of Fs. Now as we know that strain is nothing but 1/2 of Fs stress multiplied by the strain. Okay, so stress multiplied by the deformation here. Okay, the 1/2 of Fs into deformation dl, this will lead towards the calculation of a strain which is stored in a body during the shearing deformation. Now let us move towards the calculation part. I will substitute these values, individual values in the equation. So half of Fs is nothing but tau L into B, whereas dl is nothing but gamma into h. Okay, now we will get a relation U is equals 1/2 of tau into gamma into B, which we say half of gamma into tau into gamma into V. V is the volume, L, B, H, these three components come into, that's why so as we know from Hooke's law, we have a relation E is equals to sigma by epsilon and gamma is equals to tau by G. I will place this one relationship in the basic equation, 1/2 of tau into gamma into volume, thereby replacing the thing. It will be 1/2 of tau into tau by G into V. What I have done, I have replaced here strain value, that is the gamma value. So what relation I will get, U is equals 1/2 of tau square upon G into V. This we can say it is a this one is the equation which will say about the strain energy stored in a body during the shearing force or during the action of shear. Now let us work on the strain energy stored due to torsion. Okay, for that let us say the shaft is subjected to equal and opposite torque on the faces. Then due to this torque, what will happen, there will be deformation along the cross section which will run along the radial direction. So if I see the variation of the shear stress, this will be from it will be increasing from the centroid to the face of the cross sectional part of the shaft. Here if I say they are going to be moved on a radial direction, okay, incremental in with reference to increment in the radius, then we will have the variation from 0 to the maximum at the edge. Let us say the maximum is about tau max. Then from the relation with reference to deflection, we have torque by J equals to tau by R. R is nothing but radial distance. We will replace this with tau max by R, because I am going to consider the outer face. When we come out of the shaft edge, it will have the maximum value. So tau max by R is equals to G theta by L, where J is nothing but integration of R square into dA. This one is a polar moment of inertia, which will depends upon the radial direction and the location of the area. Now let T be the torque of the shaft, tau be the shearing stress, R be the radius of the shaft, and theta be the twist of the section. Okay, twist which is applied along the section along the length of the member. So L is the length of the shaft. Now I want to put this statics in terms of tau. We know that tau can be rewritten as a T, capital T, which is nothing but torque here. R is the radial distance we have, and divided by J. Now I know the equation related to the sharing strain energy stored in shearing. So it will be U equals 1/2 of tau square G up into dV. So I will replace this tau with reference to the mathematical relation which we have drawn from the basic equation. Before that, let's try to extend this volume. Can I replace this volume with a certain static? For that, let us consider a elemental area located at a position here. So this elemental area, this one, wherever I will consider along the cross section, it will have the same effect of this torque which is placed on a cross section area. That's why let us say this is a representative area, and I can have the location of this one along the length of the member. I will consider it as a strip running over the length. Okay, so that's why the volume dV, the smaller volume, will be equals to dA into L. So here the cross section which is under consideration will have a volume which equals to dA into L. So what I will do, I will put all this relationship into the equation. U equals to 1/2 of T square R square divided by J square into G into dV. Okay, so what I have done here, I have replaced the tau value here with reference to the relation here which we have defined. Later on, what I will do, I will replace the value of dV in the equation. I have to integrate this because I am going to run this throughout the shaft length. That's why integration, I will say here 0 to L. If I put here the limits here, it will be 0 to L. 1/2 of T square R square divided by J square into G into dA into L. I will rewrite this equation in a rearranged format. It will be 1/2 of T square L divided by J square into G integration R square dA. Now we know that the integration R square dA is nothing but the polar moment of inertia here. So I will replace this polar moment of inertia. I will put here the J value. So what will happen? 1 power of J will get cancelled, and what we have 1/2 T square L divided by J into G. All this constant will come outside, and this product will define what amount of energy is being stored by the body under the torsional effect. Okay, with this I will stop the lecture here. We'll continue with the basic principles related to structure analysis in upcoming lectures. Till then, stay at home, be safe and healthy. Thank you.